Ladies and gentlemen, Terrance Hayes.
Thanks, everybody. I was really torn about what to share with you guys, so I thought something strange and a little bit perverse. So this is like a letter to Old Dirty Bastard. What it looked like. Dear Old Dirty Bastard, I too like it raw. I don't especially care for Duke Ellington at a birthday party. I care less and less about the shapes of shapes because forms change and nothing is more durable than feeling. My uncle used the money I gave him to buy a few vials of what looked like candy after the birthday party, where my grandma sang in an outfit that was obviously made for a West African king. My motto is never mistake what it is for what it looks like. My generosity, for example, is mostly a form of vanity. A bandana is a useful handkerchief, but a handkerchief is a useless ass bandana. This only looks like a footnote in my report concerning the party. Trill stands for what is truly real, though it may be hidden by the houses just over the hills between us, by the hands on the bars between us. That picture of my grandmother with my uncle when he was a baby is not trill. What it is the feeling felt seeing garbage men drift along the pre-dawn avenues, a sloppy, slow rain taking its time up the coast. Bakushan is Japanese for a woman who is beautiful only when viewed from behind. Like I was saying, my motto is never mistake what it is for what it looks like, else you end up like that Negro Othello. Was Othello a Negro? Don't you lie about who you are sometimes and then realize the lie is true? You are blind to your power, brother bastard, like the king who wanders his kingdom searching for the king. And that's okay. No one will tell you you are the king. No one really wants a king anyway.
Time, Terrance Hayes, everyone. Just so you know, you have water on your right.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you again.
Thank you. It's
so
good to
much.
be here. It's good to be here. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm glad. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Did you understand it?
Did I understand it? I understood what you were getting at.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for that poem?
Meeting RZA once at a party, and we had a conversation about Old Dirty Bastard. So I thought I should write a poem without actually talking about, meeting RZA. So a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in it.
Wow.
So.
And so you're at Pitt right now. Mm-hmm. You're a professor at Pitt. What do you teach at Pitt?
Well, I teach a lot of things, sort of classes about reading poems and classes about writing poems. My favorite classes to teach, though, are really the undergrad classes. So like intro to creative writing, intro to poetry. I like to get people when they sort of don't know what it is and surprise them. So, yeah. That's
so fun. Wow. And all right, let's talk about this, get it out of the way. You're a MacArthur Fellowship winner. How has that changed your life and how you people interact with you? What's that like? I know, but for people who don't know.
I've been waiting to say this, and I haven't said it in any interviews, but no one wants to walk into a room where everybody thinks you're a genius. Too much pressure. So I find myself sweating a lot more than I used to. Yeah. That's it. I find a lot of time just sort of letting people know that not that much has changed for me. Poetry is still hard. There's still a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. And I mostly think of what it honors is just people who are good at being themselves. So that's what I work on.
And you started writing poetry when? Did people know? I heard people didn't know you wrote poetry until you published your first book.
No, this is true. People being my parents. Yeah. Because I went to college on a basketball scholarship, and
what position were you playing?
I played power forward.
Okay.
If I could dribble, I could have gone like D1. I couldn't dribble. And I majored in painting, which was already bad enough for my parents. So I just didn't tell them that I also was writing poems. But I did have a really great professor, which goes back to me really liking undergrads. And he was a wild guy who raised horses and cussed people out and was a little bit of a nut. But he was totally supportive. And he was the person who actually suggested that I try graduate school and send the poems that he'd seen and not many other people had seen out. So I did.
And here I am.
Wow. What was it like being at Pitt? You were a student at Pitt. What was
That's
that
right.
like?
I was a graduate student. And so, I mean, the side story for that is I applied to a few graduate programs, but I had a friend who was a year older than me, and we'd run track together, and he played for the Steelers. His name was Willie Williams. So I knew that Willie was already in town. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to go and kind of pretend to be a poet, and I'll hang out with this guy.
That's a great approach.
Yeah. So he was the first person I called. I got in town. I had a little small apartment, and I called and was like, Willie, it's Terrance. I'm in town.
What's up, dude?
Do you hanging out with any cheerleaders tonight? And then he said,
Steelers don't have cheerleaders. That was probably the big
He also
letdown
mentioned
there.
that. He mentioned that. But he also said, well, you're a grad student, man. I'm an NFL football player. He said it in a very sweet way. But essentially, he was like, we can't be seen together. So he gave me tickets. While he played, I always had tickets. But I never got to get to the inner circle.
Yeah.
But that got me to Pittsburgh. I mean, he's gone now. He's retired, and I'm still here. So I sort of feel like that's what was supposed to happen. I was supposed to sort of feel like I had a network already here. And very quickly, I did find that I had a network. It was just people that befriended me and the great poets and artists that were already in the city.
Yeah. Did you meet your wife here? She's a poet as well.
She is. We met at a writer's retreat in upstate New York. And I was actually working for a professor who's now an emeritus professor here, Toy Darracott. She started this organization called Cave Canem. So I just went as her assistant. And my wife was there in that first year. About like a year later, 13 months later, we got married.
Wow.
So,
that must have been the best vow exchange ever.
Well.
Like a rap battle or something.
Yeah. Right. Well, too much pressure again.
Yeah.
So we had secret vows.
Do you exchange tactics? Do you go head to head? What is your
Well,
approach?
in the beginning we did, almost 20 years ago, but now it's like we got to take care of the kids. We write at different times. So usually when something's done, we'll show each other. But there used to be a time where I would wake her up because I work at night. I'm, not an insomniac, but I can get by on about, 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So I would come in the room at 2 o'clock and I'd, wake up, I just wrote something good. And so
She's
over
okay
time,
with that?
no. Over time, she's like, please just put it by the bed and I'll see it in the morning. So we just, we write privately. It's a lonely job, being a writer, even when you're married to a writer.
Yeah.
But we do share stuff.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, your work is wonderful. I've started reading it more and more, especially now that I knew that you were coming on. And my girlfriend told me that if she were to leave me for any person, it would be you. So just letting you know that you are better than me.
See, that makes me sweat.
That makes you sweat. No. So you wrote How to Be Drawn, which it came out last April. And what was the inspiration for this book?
Well, poems come from lots of places. So even before deciding what to read for you guys, sometimes I'm very serious and sometimes I'm having a little bit of fun. And so I just mostly put a bunch of poems together that also have something to do with the fact that I was a painter in college. And so I thought I should try to write poems that were combining those interests, even though I wouldn't say that that's true in the poem that I read, but a lot of the poems do explore that, that idea of how to draw, how to be drawn, and all the multiple meanings of that.
And you do a lot of art now. You were a painting major, but you've gotten more back into that?
Sure, and I've always done the covers of my books, which is a sort of lucky break that I got with my publisher. So I'll try to maintain that. And I'll take classes when I can and paint. Painting ultimately was just too expensive. When I was getting ready to get out of college and thinking, should I go to graduate school for visual arts? And I thought, I can't afford that. Right. But a poet, paper, pen, I could do it. So it was sort of practical.
Vice Chancellor, do you write any poetry?
No.
No. No.
That's actually not true. I have tried my hand at poetry, but needless to say,
you don't have any on you right now.
I don't have any on me, but I wish I would have thought about that.
See, yeah.
But I don't have any on me, but I would have never performed it today with the genius in the room.
The genius himself.
Never.
He's not. He doesn't like that.
No, I don't. I don't like it at all.
You can read and you can buy How to Be Drawn by Terrance Hayes. It's available in the Pitt bookstore, on Amazon. I want to read some poetry with you. Is that okay?
How good are you?
We'll find out. We'll find out right when we get back. Give it up one more time for Terrance Hayes.